can either roll this.
No. Off there, or you go to jail. Pick one.
Ask a question as a public servant?
Nope.
Or you're a public servant. So you don't want the other people filming and taking video. If it's state property, it's paid for by the taxpayers. A ranger stated that we cannot step on the property because it was state-owned, and he refused to speak on camera. You need a permit to exercise your First Amendment. Yeah, everybody, they want us to get a permit to exercise our First Amendment on this property. Sir, why are we not allowed on this property here?
These are the rules.
The rules of what?
Those are the rules.
Now, is this or is this not state property?
These are the rules, sir.
Is this state property?
These are the rules.
Are these rules or just making stuff up?
Those are rules.
So we're not allowed on this property because we belong to the media. Yeah, everybody, you're not allowed to take video or pictures of this property because it's state property. The Constitution is the law of the land. You people need to realize that and understand that. Sir, we were told that we could not step on this property here because we're filming. Is that true?
Correct.
Now, is this or is this not state property?
Would you like to go inside and talk about it?
The officer said if we stepped on this state property here, we'd be arrested.
No, you're not going to be arrested, but if you want to go inside, we can talk about it in my office, and we can figure out what you want, what you need.
All I'm trying to do is do a little film here. I want to ask people questions, that's all. You know, First Amendment.
Out here, you can film off the curb line. On here, there's no filming allowed, no interviews allowed.
No filming allowed?
State property.
What's that?
Why is that? Why can't we step
You have to take that up with the state.
Sorry. If you take a look, there's people, video cameras right there, a woman with a video camera, there's a guy with a camera.
I understand.
What's the difference?
You're conducting an interview, and you want to interrupt these people's vacation.
You're not interrupting nobody.
You want to interrupt these people's vacations and do your business. Those are the rules that were established, and that's the rules that we stand by. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to help your cause. It's not going to allow you to get up here.
I'm not here for any cause. All I'm here is to exercise my First Amendment. The state property falls under the First Amendment of the Constitution. Is that or is that not correct?
I'm not going to get into debate with you.
Sir, you are the PIO. You have to answer that question.
Let me answer you this way. I'm not going to get into a debate with you on that right now.
I'm not debating. I'm just stating the law. This is the law of the land.
Here's the thing. The law is you cannot film on this.
And what's the law? What's the code, sir?
If you want to take that up with the General Land Office on Monday.
Yeah, but what's the law? What is the law? Could you recite the law, please?
Do you have any other questions?
Could you recite the law?
Do you have any other questions?
Sir, and you recite the law, we're allowed to step on this. You understand that?
You're not.
What's the law?
You're not allowed.
Could you please get somebody to recite the law for us right now?
The rules and regulations.
Where's the rules and regulations? Where's the law? No, this is state property.
I'll show you where they're at. I'm not going to sit here and get in a debate with you over something.
If we follow you, I'm keeping the camera rolling. That's how it goes.
The camera has to stay here.
No, it's how it goes. For our protection, so.
These guys are not going to allow you on this property. That's the way that it is.
On whose property is that again?
Whose property
On
is
this
it?
property, right?
Whose property? Is this the people's property or your property?
Okay, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, but you're not answering my questions.
Do you have any
Yes, I do.
that's relevant to this?
Yes, I do, sir. Could you recite the law, please, that says we can't go on state property?
Gentlemen, you know the rules?
Yes, sir.
And
Whose rules are they?
if you have anything else, come and see me.
Sir, you're not answering our question. You're walking away. Sir, you're not answering our questions.
You don't know the answer. You know.
There's no law saying we can't be on this property.
This is state property. This is our property. This is taxpayer property.
This is the people's property, not the New World Order's. Because you don't know the law. Because you're making it up.
No, they said it's rules, not even laws.
You're making the rules up. There is no law. And this is a prime example of federal takeover, folks. Discussed. We need a permit to step on this piece of property right here. When he clarified that it was state property, therefore it falls under the First Amendment of the Constitution. And these officers right here are going to dishonor their oaths if I stepped off on this property and arrest me for exercising my First Amendment. And sir, you guys took an oath to be in office. Is that correct?
Have a nice day, sir.
Have a nice day. You know, you should read the Constitution, you guys. That's the law of the land. Problem, that's why our country's falling apart, because of people like you guys. You don't know the Constitution. You let these global scum step all over us. It's disgusting.
Turning to health news, there's a new ridiculous claim that the Harvard study showing that fluoride is dangerous, it causes brain damage, is somehow not affecting people inside the United States, only in China, where the test subjects came from. It's at Natural News by Ethan Huff. Harvard now ridiculously insists that fluoride only lowers IQ levels outside of the United States. This ties into a push in Wichita, Kansas, one of the few remaining large metropolitan areas not yet fluoridating their water, where they're trying to push for that fluoridation, and they're writing articles in those local controlled media papers trying to convince people that, well, this only applies to the water levels in China, trying to imply without evidence that they don't fluoridate water to the same levels here in the U.S., which isn't true, specifically relating to the 2.4 milligrams per liters level used in the Harvard study, saying that, well, in Wichita it would only be 0.7 milligrams per liter. Well, the problem is it's accumulative. If you keep drinking the water, that's going to affect you over time. If you drink it over the course of your life, it's going to affect your thyroid. It's going to affect your glands, your tissues, your brain. This stuff is dangerous. We don't need it in our water. And even as these Harvard studies come out, other scientific, peer-reviewed studies point to the dangers of fluoride, you still see the controlled media trying to push for it, always trying to tell you, well, it's good for teeth. Drink the poison down. That entire article is up at Natural News and INFOWARS.com. Then we have in economic news, just as QE3 is launched, and we're told Ben Bernanke is going to unlimitedly pump tens of billions of dollars per month into the economy, that, well, that won't be enough. We're going to need QE4. Yes, there's already financial figures calling for it. Folks have barely even started QE3, and yet on Wall Street they're clamoring for QE4. That's a Michael Snyder article. In fact, as you will read below, one equity strategist at Morgan Stanley says he wouldn't be surprised if the Federal Reserve announced another round of money printing by the end of the year. And that's only a few months away. Obviously, we're here in September. This is such a crazy strategy, just QE3 alone, that even former Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker, very much part of the New World Order operation system, has decried it, said it makes no sense, and that this form of quantitative easing is only adding to the problem. And again, this is just part of that drug addiction phenomenon where Wall Street bankers are addicted to this easy money. They just want another hit, because they know how to use it to gain assets. It helps the big boys take control of real assets. It never helps the little people. It's not stimulating the middle class. It's not stimulating the economy. It's just this Ponzi scheme game that's going to go until it accelerates the collapse to a point of no return. Now, you've heard about the new GMO studies where they found that Monsanto's genetically engineered corn was causing tumors in rats in the first ever scientifically peer-reviewed long-term study that is longer than 90 days. All of the studies favoring Monsanto or the other genetically engineered companies supposedly showing that GMOs are safe to eat have all been short-term studies, very tightly controlled with blinders on, to say, yes, it was safe this time, let's launch it, let's fast-track approve it, let's go. Now, you've got this French scientist coming out with the first long-term study showing these rats over the course of their lives, over many more months than the studies previously held, and it shows that this stuff is dangerous. We know that from other studies that were not done by the genetically engineered companies, but those were all tossed aside, smeared in the media, and now they're predictably smearing this study. Once again, you've got Monsanto launching a campaign to do damage control over this GMO study, linking it to cancer, organ failure, and what have you. Paul Joseph Watson has the detailed report, but you've got to look at the fact that Monsanto, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and the other GMO firms pushing this stuff on the general public are spending $19 million. I read in one article it was $25 million just in California to keep labeling away, to not label the fact that ingredients contain genetically modified organisms. I thought it was safe. What's the big deal? Well, they know the public is aware. They've heard about GMO being dangerous, and they know if it's on the labels, that's going to hurt their sales. So make food available that doesn't have GMOs. People would readily buy it. But they're afraid of it being on the label and cutting into their monopolistic game to put everyone in the population on that kind of food supply. And so if it's safe, why are they trying to keep this stuff hidden? That's all in the article. And again, going into the details of the French study, they found that 50% of males, 70% of females fed this diet developed tumors within I think it was 19 months in most cases, and some of the other rats also developed tumors and cancers, but not nearly as quickly as the rats fed this GMO corn. And with this kind of damning evidence. They're just trying to attack the messenger. Well, you've got the article in Reuters where the scientist Gilles Eric Serenellini of the University of Caen is defending his study and saying he's waiting for criticism from real scientists, other scientists who've actually published materials in journals on the effects of GMOs and pesticides in order to debate this issue fairly. And he says if there's real criticism, bring it. But what he's been brought, the criticism you've seen in the media in the past week trying to spin the study, comes from lobbyists. And you look at Bill Gates Foundation, you look at Monsanto, they're funding, in many cases, the actual scientific journals, giving them mega grants that completely is a conflict of interest, does not lend itself to peer-reviewed real science, and really aims to do a disservice against the public and keep them in the dark by design, of course. It's a case-by-case deal, but Jeffrey M. Smith has been on the show many times. He's just put out this new video, Genetic Roulette. It's an accompaniment to his detailed book, Genetic Roulette. There's also Scientists Under Attack, GMO Trilogy. The point I'm trying to make here is the dangers of GMO are well known. The dangers of GMO are well known. They know it causes organ failure. They know it causes sterility, infertility. They know it's causing these long-term problems. There's been other studies, but the media has spun them, hid them, keeping them in the dark. In some cases, going back decades, they physically destroyed, flooded, damaged computers, laboratories where they were conducting research that didn't lend itself to the official story promoted by the big agriculture giants. And it's just disgusting. One example of that showed up yesterday on the Alex Jones Show when Mike Adams was hosting. He had on Anthony Giucciardi of Natural Society. And let's just take a look at that clip, some of the stuff said in that letter.
But here's this email, and I've taken out the expletive words, the curse words that's littered, all caps, a lot of these words. You may see it on the screen. Here it is. I am no traitor against humanity. If this expletive causes infertility, awesome, with 3 exclamation points. Awesome. It's awesome it causes infertility. The world is overpopulated and people need to stop having children. This is one of the Earth's largest problems. If the Earth wasn't overpopulated, things like growth hormones wouldn't exist. The reason they do is that the Earth cannot produce enough food on its own to feed us all. This is why GMO is actually saving the planet. And then you can see how angry he is when he says, so expletive you and your expletive. You can imagine what that means. I am doing humanity, this is all caps, a expletive favor.
We're showing the email on screen for those of you watching on PrisonPlan.tv. I am doing humanity a blank favor. That is
favor. Yes, all caps as well.
And you have confirmed that this is from the scientific, let's just say, I'm not going to give the name, but an entity very well known in the scientific community, and I've independently confirmed that as well.
It's one of the top 3. We'll just say that.
All right.
It's someone that was so upset that they didn't take the necessary steps to protect themselves that they may have known about. They were just so enraged. You can tell from this email, this guy's talking from pure hatred. And he says things like, if the world wasn't so overpopulated, things like growth hormones wouldn't exist.
And again, that is shocking stuff that just gives away the true attitude of the elite towards the population they're supposedly doing the best they can for. And it's just more evidence. We've got to stop this GMO. This has got to be a huge issue. People need to spread news about this study everywhere. We cannot let the media spin this issue. We know the truth. It's in these other studies. We've just got to compile it and get it out to the public before it's too late. So we turn now to the Daily Quote, which is related. It comes out of a university professor under genetics. In an ecosystem, you can always intervene and change something in it. But there's no way of knowing what all the downstream effects will be or how it might affect the environment. We have such a miserably poor understanding of how the organism develops from its DNA that I would be surprised if we don't get one rude shock after another. That's Professor Richard Lewontin, professor of genetics at Harvard, and that says it all right there. They thought 96% of our DNA was junk. They've told us they could just manipulate GMO organisms and feed them to animals, and it doesn't matter what the consequences are. Doesn't matter if it's causing new foodborne allergies. Doesn't matter if it's a total genocidal epidemic. Just we know best. We're the scientists. We're the elite. I'm furious about this, but I'm going to go now to Alex's extended update. He's got all kinds of news coming.